Hi guys, welcome to another WonderHero video. So this is just gonna be an video that sort of like introduce the viewer to the Stamp of Time item or any items that have bleed effects. So I'm just gonna illustrate the effects of it. So first and foremost, you want to showcase the item. The equipment here I'm talking about with the Stamp of Time. So in this case, mine isn't that overpowered. It only has 61 plus 61 attack. But the hero attacks make target bleed for 1 turn. Bleeding units cannot be healed. And this is the essential thing here, right? The essential effect that you want is that bleeding units cannot be healed. And why is it important in PvP or PvE per se? So initially I bought this item quite close to launch, like the second week, and it cost me quite a lot. I spent over 120 USDT back then. Like on the second or third week, because I was having trouble clearing that healing boss. I think is 5-10 or something, which is the fat guy that throws poison and can actually heal a lot. So I bought the Stamp of Time in order to clear that chapter. And with the use of the Stamp of Time, I did manage to clear it, and I didn't manage to sell it because since then the equipment prices have kept going down and down. And I just since it's going down and I'm making a loss on it anyway, so I kept the item in hopes that it will be useful for PvP. And it is true. So now it has turned out that this item is really useful for PvP because healing is such a big deal now in PvP, especially with if you watch any of my previous video on Celeste, like right now Celeste Celeste with the 4-star Hellish Claw is kind of broken in a way. I think it's bugged. The healing effect is actually 50% instead of 5%, which is what in the description it says 5%, but in actual game it's actually 50%. So I'll show you 2 videos where I previously recorded my gameplay where we can see the effect. So the first one was taken about 3 days ago. It was on the 18th of March, right? So I'll just showcase a bit of the gameplay here. So Celeste with his Hellish Claw actually starts his sacrifice mechanic on the end of turn 3. So whoever she hits from turn 3 onwards will turn into a sacrifice, and then whenever she hits that sacrifice, according to the item description, she's supposed to steal 5% of their maximum health. But instead, what happens now is that I think there's a bug in game that allows her to steal 50% of the maximum health of her sacrifice. So let's see, she's now half health, right? As you can, less than half health, so about 1/3 health here at the end of turn 3. And if you see, she gets 7,000, 6,000 amounts of heal. So essentially it brings her back to full hit points. Because if we back a little bit, right? Let's see when the Celeste takes action, you can see her maximum hit point pool. Okay, so her Celeste, so you can see here on the top, right before she hits, right? The AI selects Celeste, and Celeste has a maximum hit point of about 8,000. So with the sacrifice mechanic activated, and you can see here there's 7,000. So in one of the sacrifices hit already brings her to full health, and then she has another 6,991, and there's another like maybe 5,000 plus heal in between. So yeah, so she has like 3 times of full heals per se. So she has 300% of her health that is actually healed back with that sacrifice mechanic. So this is where the bleed effect comes in. So now I have this other video which I've taken today where I have the Stamp of Time equipped on my Shion, and we will see how it works out. So so you already see the effect there. I'm gonna reverse it a bit. Back a bit. Okay, let's back a bit more. Okay, so this is my turn 3, right? So at the end of the enemy's turn 3, Celeste with her Hellish Claw here at the bottom, the one that's shielded, should have her sacrifice mechanic activated, and you will see it here. So until my heroes finish attacking, and you can see that the bleed mechanic happens. So there's this like kind of like a crooked cross over the enemies that were hit by my Shion. Okay, so she hits. Okay, so notice that the sacrifice mechanic, which is the red circle below the bottom of my heroes, below the feet of my heroes, are still activated. And you can see that Celeste here, above Celeste, she's trying to heal with a Hellish Claw item effect, but it has actually disabled the healing. So you can see that she's still low health, right? And we'll see how it turns out. So let's compare the two fights, right? So I'm going to compare the two fights where if you allow Celeste to heal, how annoying it is to get rid of her. So this is the fight without bleed mechanic. So she full heals every turn. The opponent's Angela is still alive. I think the Angela dies here. Yep. So my Helen actually kills her. And Celeste will get another full heal. Right. See, she's almost undying, right? Almost immortal. And you can only get rid of her by bursting all her health down in a single turn, right? Before she gets her chance to attack. So here she still attacks and she heals up. I think in turn 7 we kill her because we have our ultimate stacked up. So all the heroes using their ultimate on her at the same time, at least 2 of them. So Sarah as well as Helen. At the same time, her health is really low and we finish her with attacking. So it is a lot more annoying to beat her, but still it is possible to beat her without bleed mechanic. But now, let's say with the bleed mechanic activated, so now that we have bleed, so she's unable to heal and it's turn 4. Okay, so we kill the rest of her teammates. Okay, so she's still, so bleed effect is still active on her. And she's gonna hit, and it still disables healing, right? So she's still low health. And ideally, she should die in turn 5. Yep, so we managed to kill her Celeste in turn 5. Then obviously the Cersei is still alive. The Cersei is using the 4-star, I forgot what's the name of that item that actually applies burn damage. Okay, so I mean, we still win in the end, but it is a lot easier and a lot less annoying to fight against Celeste with his Hellish Claw if you have the bleed mechanic. So how much does the bleed mechanic actually cost? So there are a few items that can give bleed mechanic. So also, is it worth sacrificing damage or bleed mechanic? Because normally speaking, I will actually equip this Dual Desire, which is I upgraded to level 6 for my Shion. So this gives close to about 190 additional attack damage to my Shion. But by sacrificing that and only equipping the Stamp of Time, I've sacrificed by about 130 attack worth of damage. So as you can see in the effect in game, even though I sacrificed like 130 points of attack damage, it is still worth it for in order to get the bleed mechanic on the heroes that heal a lot, such as the Celeste with his Hellish Claw, or maybe the opponent has the Nightingale with the what's it, the green weapon that I featured in the previous game. I cannot remember the name of it because it is quite a rare weapon, very expensive if there's anybody that sells it. So it's very rare, but yeah, so that bleed mechanic really useful there. So how expensive is it to get the bleed mechanic in the market if you were to do so? So there are a few. Maybe let me try and take a look. Let's take a look at the market. The first one that I know of will be Shion with her 4-star weapon actually. Let's go to weapon and her 4-star, which is called the Kiku Ichimonji. Let's go to lowest price. Yep, Kiku Ichimonji, lowest price around 35 to around 50 USDT. Those are for the unupgraded one. So you can obviously spend a little bit more, get an upgraded one like this. So what it does is that this is upgraded to level 5, modification level 6. So it deals a damage and percentage damage of the caster's attack as physical damage. But Muramasa's attacks make the target bleed. Bleeding units cannot be healed. So any enemy that's hit by this Kiku Ichimonji will not be able to heal. So it has the bleed mechanic. So that's one item. The other item I know, which is the cheapest one, actually should be Julia's 3-star weapon, but which is available at the floor price of 5 USDT. So deals 10 plus 100% of caster's attack as physical damage. This skill deals more damage to target as less hit points, up to 50% damage bonus. Hero's first attack makes the target bleed for 3 turns. Bleeding units cannot be healed. So this one is quite situational. That means only the first attack from Julia Pharaohs will make the targets bleed. So that means her second and third consecutive attacks actually do not have the bleed effect. But the bleed mechanic only lasts for 3 turns, which in this case will not be effective in PvP, because if you think about it, the Celeste with her Hellish Claw, right? Her sacrifice mechanic only activates at the end of turn 3. So if Julia actually hits the target like in turn 1 or even in turn 2, she'll only be able to make Celeste bleed for turn 2 to maybe turn 4 latest. So once after turn 4, Celeste's healing mechanic or sacrifice mechanic will kick in, and with a Hellish Claw, she will heal for full heals for as long as until turn 15, I think. By turn 15, the sacrifice mechanic will actually wear off, and then she will finally not be able to heal. So this is another item that has the bleed mechanic. So far, these are the only 2 weapons that I know that has the bleed mechanic, and then the only other equipment obviously will be the Stamp of Time, which is getting, I think, not as common in the market because people are not that keen to sell it, because it's really useful to PvP, and players who are trying to climb high in PvP are trying to buy it. So you can see here one is listed for 79 USDT under the latest one. So this hero's attacks makes the target bleed for 1 turn. So this that means just like when I equip on my Xion, right? Every turn that Xion hits a target, that target will bleed for that particular turn until the end of their turn. So this is Stamp of Time. Do we have maybe other? This is priced at 69 USDT, so some are a little bit cheaper. And let's see if we can find any other Stamp of Time being listed on the market for sale. So Stamp of Time will actually take up your last slot, which is, maybe I can show you on my hero. Yeah, it will take up this slot, the third slot on your upgrade. On your equipment list. So typically the first slot is sort of like a hit point item or armor item. Second slot is also like a resist, a defense item. And then the third slot is typically your attack damage, or damage item which boosts your attack. So Stamp of Time actually is going into that third slot. So going back into the market, let's see if there's any other Stamp of Time being sold at a cheaper price, or what is the going price in the latest market. So there is still an inefficiency to the WonderHero marketplace, especially for equipments and sets, because since you are not able to search the items by the item name, right? So for example, I would just want to find all the Stamp of Times in the market. There's no way for me to just type stamp, right, or as a keyword and then click search and get all the Stamp of Time. Or if you're looking for maybe like a Sarah set or maybe a Celeste armor set, but you're looking for green items. So like this is a Yuri Kim equipment, but it's difficult to find this if you're going by the lowest price because it's priced so high. If you're going by the highest price, it's also not reasonable. So another Stamp of Time here at 105. Its stats are a little bit better. And then any other Stamp of Times are listed. So as I mentioned, it's not easy. For example, you want to look for Vidya's deity, and then you can't like just type into the search box and search for it. I know during the AMA, I think Zace actually posted, Zace Kai, one of the top players in WonderHero, he posted a question to the CEO to ask, I don't wonder is it Zace Kai or maybe other players, right? They posted during the Q&A session with the CEO's AMA, WonderHero CEO's AMA, that will there be an improvement to the marketplace where you can search by name? The CEO didn't answer that directly, so he answered that it will be improved, but since he didn't answer it specifically by saying that there will be a search function by name, it probably means that it's not coming in the near future. But I do hope that players, you can actually feedback into their feedback system, which I will try and submit. There is a link for feedbacks, so you can actually check the WonderHero Discord, and then there is a way for you to submit feedback. So we can actually submit feedback to the WonderHero devs, to try and like get them to implement this sooner, so that we can have a more efficient way to search for items. So another stamp of time here sold for 90 USDT. Looks like that's about the going rate now. It costs about that much. So in a way, maybe right now the stamp of time might be a little bit too expensive because back like I think about few weeks ago before PvP started, stamp of times were actually really low price. They were actually priced like 20, there were people selling it like 20 USDT or maybe like 30 USDT. But now with the with PvP being more and more prominent, so people are selling their stamp of time at uh higher prices. So this is about the price that I bought it for. I think I bought mine for about 120 USDT back in like week 2 or week 3. But this is a lot better, right? 75 and 65 attack. So this adds a lot more attack other than the bleed effect. Let's see under the latest any more stamp of times being sold. Generous greed. No, don't see any. Giant's hatred. See if we can find any more within the next few pages. If we can't, I think that's about it. Song of Elves, Dark Knowledge. Yeah, I think that's about it. So you can see that stamp of times, the going rate for it is, I mean, it fluctuates quite a lot. The most expensive one, as we've seen in my video here, is about 120 USDT. That is for pretty good stats, have been listed quite a while back. And the latest ones, you can buy one for about maybe 60 to 70 USDT for another stamp of time item. Or you can, so the cheaper way to go for bleed right now will probably be going for buying a Shion skin and getting Shion's Kiku Ichimonji, which is the 4-star weapon, and then leveling it up for PvP, right? So that will be the other way to get a bleed effect. But like I show in my first video, like it is not 100% necessary to get bleed effect in order to beat like the Celeste with the broken 4-star healing, broken 4-star Hellish Claw healing. So you can actually just kill Celeste straight up by, just getting more damage, right? Because if you have a lot more damage and you can kill the rest of a team fast enough, then eventually Celeste will fall as you will stack up your ultimates, and then with your ultimates as well as your basic attacks, you should be able to kill Celeste in that single one round. Yeah, so we don't see any other stamp of times being sold. So those about 4 or 5 earlier, as you see in my video, as you scroll through the latest list, about 4 or 5 stamp of times being listed in the market. But like if you find that it's really expensive, you want to invest on that, then just go for Shion Muramasa's Kiku Ichimonji, which is 4-star. Right, you can get you can get any of these. Like if you want just the basic one, you can get this at like 35 USDT. If you want a previously upgraded one, you have to spend about 58 to get this. Then obviously there are better ones. So a highly level one, level 8, this is 74 USDT, which is still cheaper than a stamp of time and also gives 270 no damage. So this is actually not a bad buy if you have the budget for it. The others, those level 0 ones maybe have been listed long ago. These are too high price, right? You're not going to buy any of this. So this were probably like listed maybe in like the first 3 weeks of WonderHero market, and where the prices were high, and then the players never came back to it, right? They never brought down the price. So it's actually just left there at a very high price. So yeah, so this is the other main weapon that you could get. And that's it for this video. And thank you very much for watching, and see you guys next time.